Teammates in a glove, James McCann, who has had a lot of teammates over the years, college, minor leagues, a long pro career. We wanted you here in part because, well, you're a wonderful guy. In part because you're a catcher and you've had a lot of interesting relationships with pitchers. So before we get into the glove, I'm curious what makes a great pitcher-catcher relationship. What's the most important thing?
I think the most important thing is that trust factor. One thing that I preach to my guys is when you give up runs, I give up runs. It's not your ERA, it's our ERA. And I take a lot of pride in that. I take a lot of, if we have a bad night, it's hard for me to sleep at night. It's hard to put my head on the pillow and know that, man, my guy just gave up some runs today, and I'm as frustrated as they are. So you have that trust, and they know that I care as much as I do. That's what builds those relationships.
All right, well, I hope you'll sleep well after this exercise. So we have some of your teammates in a glove. You haven't seen them. So pick out a name and give us the first thing that comes to mind. Go ahead and grab some random piece of paper in there. James is not looking. And first name, what do we got?
Oh, man. The minor league home run king, Mike Hessman.
Okay, this is a deep cut for folks who don't know. I was hoping you would get this one. Mike Hessman, the all-time minor league home run leader, slight big league career, but legitimately like the Crash Davis of the minor leagues. You played with him in Toledo.
I did. Hess was a phenomenal teammate. Two things that stick out to me. One, I was 23 in AAA, and he was his second to last season playing, maybe last season playing, so he's 38, 39, whatever it was. And because he was who he was, he got to choose who his roommate was on the road. And for whatever reason, he decided to choose me. But the big one that sticks out to me is it was probably like June, somewhere in the middle of the season. I'm knocking on the door of the big leagues, and I'm in a lot of doubles, but I've only got like 3 or 4 homers on the year. And the manager pulled me aside. He said, "Man, you got to start hitting more homers." And I think I was sitting right around 315, 320 at that time. And I said, okay, I got to hit more homers. Well, sure enough, I try and hit homers, and within 2 weeks, my batting average is at 280, and I still have 4 homers. Well, Hess pulled me aside, and he was like, hey, take this from a guy who's done nothing but hit homers and only has a cup of coffee in the big leagues. You keep hitting for average and hitting doubles and catching the way you catch, you're going to go to the big leagues. He's like, don't worry about hitting homers. Homers will come. Just keep hitting, having good quality at bats, and catch, because your calling card is catching. And so having a veteran guy like that kind of sit me down in AAA and say, hey, stop, don't listen to that, stop trying to hit homers, it meant a lot.
That's an amazing way to lead it off. Mike Hessman, the all-time home run king. All right, name 2.
All right, Yoenis Cespedes.
Detroit Tigers, I think 2015 for a year you guys were together?
2015, we were together for the first half of the season. Unbelievable player. I think the one thing that used to drive me nuts, but I loved at the same time, is he had such a good arm. He would kind of bait guys in left field to try and turn a single into a double. And more often than not, he threw him out at second base. But it always made everyone so nervous because he just kind of cruised with the ball and then cut to throw him out. And most of the time it worked, but sometimes it didn't. And then the other one is, I tell this story to guys in here all the time. Early in the season, he was taking a lot of first pitch fastballs for strikes. And I asked him, I said, aren't you getting after any of those pitches? And he looked at me and he said, Poppy, it's Detroit. It's cold. The ball no fly when it's cold. And I swear, as soon as that calendar turned over and it got warm, it was like, whack, whack, 3 first pitch homers. And he came in and he smiled. He said, see, Poppy, I told you.
This is a good start. We're off to Mike Hessman, Cespedes. Maybe we'll get a picture of this one. We're 2 for 2 on hitters.
2 for 2 on hitters.
Yep.
Ooh.
Here's a pitcher.
David Price. David Price, he was my first big league start. Caught him in Detroit. We were going against the Giants. Bumgarner was on the mound for the Giants. David Price is one of my all-time favorite teammates. Top step at all times when he wasn't pitching. He was one of the first guys to give me a high five. Actually, my first homer was inside the Parker. And as I hit it, I'm coming in the dugout. It never really registered that counted as my first career homer because it didn't leave the stadium, and I just wasn't really thinking that way. And he was top step going nuts. And when I saw him, I realized, wait a second, that was my first homer. But he was awesome. One of my favorites, just the way he went about his business, worked hard, got there early, and was just a phenomenal teammate.
We'll do one more. I feel like we have enough for part 2, but we'll stop this one right here. You've had a lot of great teammates. And one with the Hall of Famer.
This is a good one to end on. Miguel Cabrera. I've got a lot of stories about Miggy. I say the one that sticks out to me was before I was actually an official teammate. When I was in big league camp, we were at the Marlins spring training, so Jupiter, and it's our last round of BP. And I'm a nobody. I'm going to Double B that year, I think. And he looks at me and said, "Hey kid, where do you want me to hit this homer?" And, he's got 5 swings in BP, and I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what to say to Miggy, right? And he's like, "Fine, I'll hit it everywhere." And he proceeded to hit a homer to straightaway left, left center, dead center, right center, straightaway right. And he walked out of the cage, he smiled, and he said, "Think that was good?" So I think that was actually 2012 when he ended. It was 2012 when he won. Yeah, 2012 was when he won the Triple Crown. So that's when I was kind of like, wow, he's a special player.
You were right, and this was fantastic. Thanks for doing this, James.
Of course, anytime.
James McCann, teammates in a glove. There's a lot of names in there, so maybe this is part 1 of 2. We'll see. And a great Miguel Cabrera story to end it on. Thanks, James.
Thank you.